those two guys are going to have to weed out which ones are better, and it's just whoever's going to be able to do that. So
I've seen a lot of waves unsuccessful off the end. You'll watch, Adriano right here. He comes through. He's got a good little lip line float, tail drop, and then he comes around, and when he turns through this, he comes to the bottom of it and then catches that outside rail. And I've seen the outside rail being caught quite a bit at this venue, like, waves coming up at it.
Oh, hang on a second. We've got a wave for Joel Parkinson here. Hangs on to that turn. Adriano had a 2 on his first ride. And Parko just trying to get the better of Adriano on that opening exchange, which he'll probably do.
Here's a replay. Off the bottom. Throws the tail, almost loses control a bit there, so he does well to stay with it, but he's just pretty much getting, set for the heat, right? Getting the warm-ups. Back to that question, do you...
Close-knit group, egging each other on to victories. Now there's so many of them on tour that they are ending each other's dream runs in these contests. During the interview, though, Joel Parkinson's strider tapped into this one.
Yeah, it looked like he got a good rhythm throughout this wave, just ripping into it and with intent, when you see those turns. Unfortunately, coming unstuck on the inside there, he came down a little off tempo, and the hips weren't over the board enough for him to ride out of that.
Also knew that this was a really important event for you. We'll get back to that in a moment as Joel Parkinson gets up on wave number 3. Had a 4.67 on his previous ride, but a crucial event for you, Zeke, because you're not getting the opportunity to surf over at Uluwatu, so we're inspired taking on each other just because of the rivalry factor.
Yeah, for sure. Here's Adriano right here.
De Souza taking off, and he's in second spot, chasing a 5.67. Always stays so close to the pocket. Second turn, really committed. Does well to hang on to it. But they are looking fired up, aren't they? And their motivation starts to wane, and you think, oh, they're just going to dip out of the event here. They come up against someone who they've got some history with, and it sparks them into action.
Yeah, you can see both of the surfers are on point. Nailing those sections. This wave was the perfect wave to catch, though. It had that cup in it, and it gave them the opportunity to come up under it and just belt the lip and then ride up out of it with speed. He slams it so perfectly right there, coming through the lip line. It's so technical. Like the A to B, in and out of a turn. There's just seamlessness to it, right? He's got a great tempo in the water, and it just seems he picks the waves that'll let him do that.
Yeah, it was just really clean and easy to judge and easy to surf for him.
He loves Tahiti as well. There's so many amazing venues on the list these days.
De Souza keeping busy on the inside. His last wave came through at a 7.73.
You're a young man these days, and watching these guys and knowing that they're all kind of on the tail end of their careers, do you feel like what's that feeling watching these guys kind of being on the tail end, watching your idols kind of retire, so to speak?
I'm just glad to be here while they're still here. It's always my dream to be on tour with these guys, and they were always the bar. So it was always, me trying to get at that level.
Right. Not that De Souza looks like he's going to retire anytime soon. This guy's just throwing big frontside rotators, fins up high above the head right there, the elevating, strong, just technique and on point right there.
Well, De Souza going into his 13th year on the championship tour.
For me, that's everything. Just coming from there, but here's Joel right here.
Joel Parkinson loading up. He's chasing a pretty big score now. He'll be happy to just chip away at the requirement. Beautiful roundhouse cutback to get started. Has to climb through a pretty late section on the second turn, but that roundhouse, it's a traditional turn. We've been watching it for years and years.
Yeah, this draws a smile to my face, watching the speed that he has, and then comes out on the corner just all the way around and then straight up for the rebound into it. Gets a little hung up on the bottom there on the way to the lip line, so hinders his flow through the end of that wave there, but still a great turn right here on the rail, right in front of his opponent too. Does that affect you at all when you're in the lineup, Zeke, when your opponent's throwing down turns right in front of you?
No, not too much. I don't let it bother me. I just kind of, focus in, but...
After Steve Cooney rode that first wave in Morning the Earth up there on the Bukit Peninsula of Uluwatu, was those left-handers. But around the turn of the century, everyone started looking for a ride. People were sick of going left, and they stumbled upon this thing, and it's good news for everyone who loves watching the world's best, because this is such a good playground. Adriano de Souza trying to get rid of a 6 to increase his lead here. Old Parkinson victorious here back in 2013. Hasn't had a CT win since. Has some work to do.
Yeah, they look like they got a bit scrappy there, trying to find themselves a nice little wave. But it looks like Adriano is just so on point right now as far as the freedom he looks like he's having in the water.
Yeah, it looks really loose.
Let's see what Parko can do. Needs a big number at this stage. I'm sure he'd just be happy to just post something solid and chip away at this requirement. A couple of big turns to kick this one off. Loading up for a huge finish now. Beautiful carve off the top and still has room to move. And he's been busy on this one.
Parko's wave here, he just had a nice glide in, cracks the setup, and then really pushes hard with the fins there. This is my favorite turn of the wave, where he just really gouged down into the rail line there. Cleans it up on the inside, feeling pretty frisky, it looks like.
Yeah, he looked really loose on that wave. He just seemed in rhythm and just more flow through the whole wave, coping on the top of the wave to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it looked like he had it almost perfect, and then he got a little hung up there.
Now looking for a 6.21. As we see the replay here, Strider.
Yeah, straight up. Didn't really attack that first one the way he could have, but he definitely puts it up there pretty well. Core strength to stay up over his board right there, try to get a completion out of that, but that's not really going to go into his score line, right? So he's going to have to get back out there and reset.
Approach is going to have to change, and you know the ocean's changing the whole time you're out there as well. So
this is Joel Parkinson making his move now. He had that 7.53, needs a 6.21. Big old slice after a nice float to get this ride started, but we'll need more down the line, you'd think. Again, just going to that roundhouse cutback. A hard move to fit in on a wave that's really stretching out and trying to get away from you. Clicks the tail free on the end section, doesn't complete that turn.
The inside there when you're finishing up a wave, Zeke, because that, you know, mentally, we'll walk through the replay here. He gets a nice little float, rock and roll, gouges in the corner. You know, a little bit mistimed on that gouge, so he could have really laid into it if he would have done it a little bit sooner, but some clean work on the face. Back to live.
Live action, Adriano de Souza.
Joel out the back, dropping in on a wave, but it was a bigger wave that broke out the back and didn't give him that opportunity. Look at this wave, cupping out off the bottom, straight up into that corner. You know, he can attack the lip line. He's got more meat on the bone on the inside. That's what you want to be able to do. And then has an interesting finish to the wave, creating a point of difference in his surfing that he's been doing throughout the heat so far.
To the season, looking forward to seeing you at J-Bay. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right, time ticking by, 20 seconds remaining. De Souza trying to finish this one off in fine form. He did push the requirement higher for Joel on his last ride, banking a 6.4. And Joel, he'll be looking to make up some big points at the next stop over there at Uluwatu, because he is into the third round of Margaret River. But a big heat win for Adriano de Souza. Just starting to even up the history with Parko.